welcome back to It's Only Cooking. You're in my kitchen, not a sound stage, not a private, quiet thing. You'll hear the lawn guys outside. And we're going to have some fun today. My name's John Hruska, and It's Only Cooking. And we're going to do some things, a little jerky. We're going to also make smash burgers. And we're going to do this all with regular equipment. So we'll try and do this with a regular equipment. We won't use anything you don't probably have around your house, and regular ingredients. So as you can see, I'm already putting the jerky on here, and that isn't very fair because you don't know how I got to this point. Now, some people think you need to have an air fryer, or you need to have a dehydrator. I'm going to show you don't need that. We're going to do it in an oven, a regular oven, at 175 degrees. And we have to marinate this first. So before we go any further, let's take a little breakaway, and we're going to show how it is that I got this beef ready to go in the oven. So the things we're going to need for this, of course, to start is 3 pounds of meat. Now, I've got a chuck roast here, but I'm probably going to use some round too. I have round. What you want is something with not a lot of fat. I'm going to have to carve all the fat off of this, and you can see there won't be much left. You want something with no fat because fat doesn't render well at the low temperatures we're going to cook it, and it doesn't help it hold its freshness. Fat will cause it to not stay fresh. Next, you need some dark brown sugar, a cup of pressed dark brown sugar. Now, the thing to remember is if you don't have dark brown sugar, you can make dark brown sugar. It's 1 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of molasses. Mix it all up, and away you go. You got dark brown sugar. 1 tablespoon of molasses, you got light brown sugar. It's that simple. You need 1 cup of soy, and I'm using low sodium soy. You're going to see why. Everything I'm doing is as low sodium as I can get. 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Wow, I said it right. Amazing. A tablespoon of smoked paprika. Don't be confused. This is Spanish paprika, can work, but you want to make sure it's smoked paprika. That gives it that extra flavor. A teaspoon of fresh black pepper. I'm using a coarse ground black pepper because I like the flavor better. Take your own choice. You can use any type of ground pepper you like. A teaspoon of red pepper flakes. More or less of this, depending on how hot you like your jerky to be. A teaspoon of onion powder. And a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And I'll put all those powders in one thing so I can dump them in the bowl. Then we combine all the ingredients into the mixing bowl. And I'm using a wire whisk here. And we're going to whip that up and whip it until that sugar melts. So it's going to take a little while. You gotta spin it and get it broken up. You can even let this sit for a little bit. And we're going to go over and we're going to cut the meat now. Now, I'm going to show you what kind of the meat really ends up looking like in the pieces. Cutting it's pretty boring, but you want it to be between 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch thick. You can make them any shape, any size you like. You just don't want to get too much thicker than that. It'll be uneven cooking. So once you get all that, you're going to put them, you know my trick. I like to use a Ziploc bag. So I'm going to put it in a Ziploc bag. I'm going to put the sauce over it, and that makes it a little bit of a mess. That's why I've got a bowl under it, and I'm doing it in the sink. So we put all that meat in there. We squish it around a little bit, get a good seal on it, and then we're going to put that in the refrigerator for anywhere from 12 to 20 hours, 24 hours, as long as you like. Go in there every couple hours and flip the bag over if you're using my Ziploc bag trick. Okay, so turn it over. Just make sure that sauce keeps running over. And then the next day, you're going to drain it out, and you're going to put it back in your dish. So you can see the process is pretty easy. All things you have in your cupboard, all things you can make if you don't have brown sugar. Remember that next time you're making cookies. We don't bake here. I can't measure that good. So if you're going to make it and you're out of brown sugar, you don't have to run to the store. If you've got regular sugar and you have molasses, now you want to make sure it's unsulfured. I shouldn't have said it because now I got to tell you what it means. When they have a lot of cane sugar, they try to use young cane, trying to get more yield out of it. So they treat it with sulfur dioxide or whatever it is to make sure that it has still a nice mild flavor to it. Well, to me it tastes a little chemically, but it doesn't go in brown sugar. So just so you remember, just regular, grandma's old molasses, you put it in the sugar if you have to, and you'll get brown sugar. So there's one other thing I showed you out there. It's kind of my secret weapon. and this is meat tenderizer. Now that's why I was so careful not to put any sodium or low sodium as much as I could with the soy. You can't help it with the Worcestershire, it's just salty, but it's only, it's only 3 tablespoons. So what this has in it, aside from sugar, salt, cornstarch, that's a thickener, and so it doesn't cake, it has bromelain. That's the tenderizer. That's the thing that breaks down the tissue in there, because you're slow cooking this. I mean, you're really slow cooking it at 175 for 3 hours. Could be a little more, could be a little less, but you can tell by looking at it. We've all seen jerky. So I'm going to finish putting these on the tray. Now I've got a really large pan here. I bought these intentionally for having parties and things like that. If you don't have, well, this wouldn't fit in a standard oven. If you don't have these larger, because we have a lot of meat here, you can put it on 2. But you want to have a grate. You want to put some foil under it so it's not a giant mess to clean up after. And you want to lay them out so they're not really touching each other or overlapping. Some of these are a little chunkier. I kind of like the little nuggets. They were at the end of some of the pieces of meat. So we're going to put all these on here. And when we get it all laid out, we're going to put it in that oven. Now, like I said, if you have smaller pans, you can use 2 pans. You're going to put them in the oven, kind of on the upper third rack and the lower third or middle rack. Probably do that. And every 45 minutes, half hour, you'll flip them. Turn them and flip them so that they get kind of more of the even heat of the oven. So let's get this put in the oven, set our timer for 3 hours, and we'll get to making those smash burgers. We'll be right back.
Hello, this is Lomas Brown, ex-Detroit Lion, and you're watching OC TV. That's Oxford Community TV. Check it out.
Your Marine Corps' way of life is to defend the American way of life. Every day, no matter where we serve, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
If you like to spend time in the outdoors, then there's a good chance you could come across a young fawn. And normally, young fawns are found alone because their mothers place them there to be safe. A young fawn has very little scent, and the mother will only come in just a couple times a day in order to feed it and leaves quickly so that she doesn't leave behind her scent. So if you find a young fawn curled up in the grass, that's actually the safest place for it to be. Enjoy that moment, but don't touch it or move it. The mother will be back soon. Only licensed rehabilitators can legally possess wildlife, so please leave wildlife in the wild. For a list of licensed rehabilitators throughout the state, visit michigan.gov/wildlife.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Okay, it's on to smash burgers. Bad news. We're gonna go outside and do them on the grill. It's raining. So we're not doing them that way. We're gonna do them indoors. We're gonna use something even better. We're gonna use a griddle. Everybody's got a griddle. If you don't, they're 20, 30 bucks. You can do these indoors any time of year then. I'm gonna use just some gloves here because I'm gonna massage the mincemeat, the hamburger here, because that makes it just better. So first thing we always do in everything is the mise en place. Of course, we've got 1 pound of ground beef. Again, I like 80-20. 70-30 is even better because you want fat in this dish. 90-10 is a no-go. You won't have enough fat and you won't get a smash burger. It's just the way it is. The other thing I'm going to use in this is the Chipotle smoked Tabasco. Don't worry, it's not spicy like Tabasco and doesn't have the vinegary flavor that some people may or may not like. But we're going to use this. It gives it a great flavor. You can use less if you just want a hint of the smokiness. You can use more if you want to give it a real pop. The other thing we're going to have is an amount of breadcrumbs here. I'm using the panko type crumbs. They're just breadcrumbs. And the reason is anybody that has a dairy problem, this is the ticket. You want this because these don't have any dairy in them. We're going to beat an egg. I happen to have an extra large. You can use a large. It doesn't matter. It's just a binder. The binder, and the same thing with the breadcrumbs. It's all binder. We're not making meatloaf, so it's, again, just to sit together, because when these things smash down, they get pretty thin. The other thing is a nice roll. You want some sort of nice roll you're going to use. These are just out of a bakery section at the local Kroger's. And one of the things you're going to need is it's parchment paper. Why do I need parchment paper? Well, because when you use this little gizmo here, which is a presser, you press down the meat with it, it'll stick to it unless you put a little piece of parchment paper. Because you put them on a ball. You make a ball and you put them on. Okay, I'm not going to go out and buy one of these. I don't want one of these. Don't need it. I'm going to show you how to do it with a frying pan and a little towel in there. We'll do it both ways. So we'll show you don't need to have any special fancy equipment to do this. And of course your griddle, which I have heating up, hopefully not too hot that I burn myself here. And we're going to just start putting some stuff in. Now, we're going to put a little bit of this chipotle. I'm going to carefully measure. This is just cooking. It's only cooking. I'm going to put it's about a tablespoon. I've put half a bottle in before when I'm making it for all the fellas at a little party we do in the fall, and they really liked it. But that's probably a bit much for the family here. An amount of these breadcrumbs, again, it's a feel thing. You just put a little bit in there. You can put more or less. It's kind of up to you how you pull it off. The other thing we're going to need is an egg. Again, binder. And we'll throw that in there. You You don't have to beat the egg before you put it in. You're going to be crushing it with your hands pretty good, so you don't really need to do it. But it makes it a little easier. Pop that in there. That's all you need to do. Get all of it, get all of it, get all of it. A little bit of salt and pepper. You're going to season them when you put them on, but I like to get a little bit of salt and pepper inside of the dish just because it makes it taste better. All right, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to put my little gloves on here, if I can get them on my big hands. They say one size fits all. They haven't seen these arthritic joints, so you try and get these on the best you can. You don't have to do this, by the way. I'm doing it just because I don't want to have to go do a full cleanup and I can continue on with the show. But you're just going to mix that in there, get it kind of all going. It's really, you don't want to overwork it, but you got to get everything mixed. So try to be efficient. You don't want to mix it so much that you break down all the nice pieces of beef. Yeah. Believe it or not, when you put them through a grinder, there are pieces of beef in there, and you want it to have some substance so it's not just mush. So try to do it gently but thoroughly. There's a term. There's a term you wouldn't see in baking. So we're going to put that together like that. It looks pretty good to this point. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to take a little jump in the film here, and we're going to pull this everything together here so we can start making these. I'm going to pull the griddle over so it's in front of the camera. You can see what we're doing. Okay, welcome back. Here's what we're going to do. This is not real scientific. We're going to pull out what appears to be, let's call it, I don't know, 2 ounces. It can be any size you want it to. I'm going to make them about 2 ounces because I think that makes a good double burger. So let's see if they're about the same. You can take a scale and you can weigh them if you're that particular. We're not. We're going to do it this way. So got nice little balls for them there. First, this. We know this works pretty well. This is made for this. It has no problem. You place it on the grill, and you just smash it down. You can look at it, see if it's right. Nope, it's got to be thinner than that. You want to give this a good, there we go. That's what you want this thing to be. You want this thing to be smashed right to the grill. No need for oil here. In fact, you don't want to do that. Now we're going to take the one and do it with the pan. Again, placing this on the griddle. We're going to use a fresh one just so I can show you it's operating with that. Take your pan and just push down with your pan. It should give it the same effect. Look at that. Same effect. You don't even need to go out and buy anything special. And there, once you have that, you're 90% of the way there. A little salt and pepper. Not to get crazy here. And these things should be getting going pretty good here. We're going to take a roll. Leave a nice bottom on it so it can just hold on to everything here. A little butter. Again, you can use oil or mayonnaise if you want to use that to brown your bread. I'm using butter because I'm going to eat it, and I like butter. And this is just to brown the bun, make it pretty. We're letting that cook a little bit till it comes. You're going to be able to tell. Can you get a close-up of that, Miss Producer, of the burgers cooking there? You can see what I'm waiting for as I'm trying to get that in there. I've got it on the griddle here about 350, 375. Outdoors on the grill, I'm using this monster. I'm using this thing. In here, this is Teflon. Not very good Teflon, it's pretty old. I was going to use this, and the producer said, no, do it the right way. Use Teflon like you're supposed to, so I'm going to do that. These look about right. They're getting close. I've got my cheese here. I'm going to make them with cheeseburgers, basically. Let's see what we got going here. These are getting there. Not taking long at all. These do not take long to cook. They're almost done now. We give them a quick flip. You can see that is perfect. Give them a little more pepper. I like pepper, so I'm going to put a little more on there myself. and a little more salt. Not a lot, just a little. And then the cheese. They're basically already cooked now. We're just waiting for our buns to get done. They're pretty close. Pretty close to being finished. We're going to put this, I think what we're going to do is we're going to pull this whole thing back. Do not try this at home. Okay, our cheese is getting about done. We've got a good brown on that there. We'll place that one on that one. How we doing here? Looks pretty good. Place that there. We put our first burger, take a little bit of the grease off of it. And there you have, well, I'm going to make it pretty, make them diagonal. There, what you have, folks, is a smash burger. Okay, we're going to go away for just a minute, see some sponsors, and we'll be back, and we're going to have a taste of this burger once I do to it what I want to do to it. I like onion, ketchup, mustard, pretty simple. But we'll come right back, and we'll have a taste of this, make sure it's good. So hurry back. I don't want it to get cold.
Hey, this is former Detroit Lion Rob Rubick and former Lapeer, Michigan school teacher. You're currently watching OCTV, Oxford Community Television. Enjoy it.
Canine Stray Rescue does just that. Rescue stray dogs for new families. But they need your help. Become a volunteer at Canine Stray Rescue League of Michigan. Take dogs for walks, help them socialize with others, and help them get adopted. Fill out an application and help a family add a new member today.
Abigail Adams here, just checking up on our springtime goat work on the Pollyant Trail. What's that? Trash on our beautiful trail? Oh, that makes me so happy. We've got so many trash cans all over the trail. It's a beautiful day on the trail, but oh no, this could end badly. Wow, that sure was nice. Folks know not to hog the road. Even goats share. Hey, that gets my goat. Where are you going? Even I have to be out here on a leash. You sure are a nice dog, but stay away from those weeds. I'm gonna eat them later. What a beautiful gift, our Pollyant Trail. I've got to hit the trail. I hope you will too.
I am incredibly proud to be a physician here at St. Jude. To be in a place where I know my patients are going to get the top-notch care, not only care, but also research happening 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Every single person that contributes is a part of that St. Jude family that makes that happen. Because of the research, because of all the donors, because of everyone that is really committed to the mission of St. Jude, we're giving families hope.
Okay, now we're gonna dress this thing up. Here's my little pet peeve. I don't like the grilled part being, the cheese part being on the top. I always do mine upside down, but that doesn't make for good TV. So I'm gonna put a little ketchup on mine. I already put my onion on there. I cut it real thin. I like to have onion on every bite, about. A little mustard on there. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do, I do under protest. The producer wanted a cross section. So I have to cut my beautiful burger in half, and you know that lets all the flavor out. So, but I'm gonna cut it anyway. Okay, my favorite part of the show. It's time for It's Only Eating. You can see that's, let me get a nice close-up of me just giving a little squeeze of that there. So you can see just a little squeeze. That is as juicy a burger you'll get. It's got a nice crispness on the outside. I could even have went a little longer on the other side, but I was hungry. So here we go. That is juicy every time. It's easy. You can see I threw that burger together in mere moments. A few little details on that. Some people, they like to put mustard on it on the grill and sear the mustard in it. They like to put onions on it, sear it in the grill. You can do anything you want with it. It's your burger, but the whole idea is they need to have that weight with a little bit of the parchment paper and push down it, get it. You don't want to obliterate it, but you want to make it thin so that it basically cooks all the way through one side. So when you flip it over, you're just finishing off, letting the cheese melt. That's it, and you're ready to go. You got yourself a great burger. Now in a few minutes, we're going to pull out the jerky, and we're going to give that a try and see how that worked out in the oven. Again, 3 hours at 175. We'll be right back and pull that up. Okay, welcome back. And of course, now the sun's come out. Too late, smash burgers are gone, and they're in my stomach already. So we're not going to worry about that, but our jerky has been in the oven meantime. It's just about to room temperature. This will stay on the counter in a Ziploc bag, airtight container, glass jar, anything that's airtight for a week to 10 days. I doubt this will last that long here. If you want to have it longer, you're going to want to put it in the fridge for a little while. But you'll know when it's not good because it'll be hard. At any rate, it came out. Producer, you got some good close-up shots of this. So let's try a piece and see what we got. Well, you can see it kind of pulling apart just like jerky does. Everything's looking good so far. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to look. So let's try a bite of it. Good flavor. Thought I'd make it again. I might put a little bit more pepper flakes in it. It's tender. It's juicy, juicier than a lot of you get from the store. Big shout out to my buddy Mark Trimble, who gave me the idea to do this because he does it in his oven. You'll see him around the 24th Grill around town, usually most times during the week. So thank him for that, and give this a try. It's pretty easy to make it. It's kind of a fun little project. It's something kids can do with you pretty easy if you want to do that, except for the cutting part. Watch those knives. So we'll see you next time again. It's Only Cooking, and we'll try a new adventure in a different direction. Thanks. See you next time.